The more I think about it, the more I realize that it can take very little to get me to try a game. I was looking through Keymailer, a website where I can request keys for games I'm interested in reviewing, and I stumbled into SHOVELBOY. Though its visuals and overall gameplay is very simplistic when compared to what's nowadays the norm, I still wanted to give it a try. It helped that it advertised itself as a difficult platformer, and I liked its retro appearance. When I started to play, I realized that there was an easy and hard mode. Normally I would have gone with something towards the middle, but rather than settling for easy, I decided to play on hard. I figured the least I could do was give it a try, and if I felt that it was too much for me or imbalanced in one way or another, I'd fall back on easy mode. That didn't end up happening. The difference between easy and hard is that easy allows you to have continues, whereas hard requires you to beat all of the 21 levels in one session. My first playthrough of the game got me to level 12 or 13 out of 21. I figured I'd have the game beat in less than 10 minutes, but I was wrong. I wouldn't go so far as to say that SHOVELBOY is punishingly hard, but it definitely takes some getting used to before you realize that just about everything it has to offer is fair. I say just about everything because I regularly encountered bugs. They weren't game-breaking, but they affected it enough to the point where I was sometimes forced to manually take care of what should have been automatic, much like restarting the game after dying or being able to take advantage of a moment where I was caught between a platform and spikes. This led to me bouncing around between both objects, clearly being damaged/affected by this, but only losing one health icon. I'm sure that speedrunners would view this as helpful and take advantage of this bug, but for me, it led me to believe that SHOVELBOY could have used more polish. This also has to do with the fact that every run I attempted was different, but not in a good way. During one run, I thought that the platforms became solid and this allowed you to jump through them after you had acquired the shovel. I thought it was clever for you to be able to jump through it prior to getting the shovel, and then being unable to repeat that once you had the shovel. I eventually realized that this was a bug and not a feature. That bummed me out because I thought I was dealing with clever game design, but in reality, it was just an accident. I would have thought more of SHOVELBOY had this been planned because it would have showed me that a great deal of thought went into how the game could be played, and that led to offering more strategic gameplay. The game in its current state does offer enough strategic gameplay to satisfy most, but not to the extent that I thought it would. Being able to jump through platforms helped in more ways than one, but part of me felt as if that was wrong. It's because it allowed me to maneuver around in ways that wouldn't have been possible in other platformers. Removing that as a possibility could have the game harder/more interesting. It forced you to be more creative because you'd have to dance around the enemies while not being hit. By being able to jump through the platforms, I felt that I could play in a lazier manner and still be rewarded for that. I don't want to give up the idea that I believe that harder equals better, but what I do think is that forcing players to step out of their comfort zone will ultimately lead to more fun. The key thing here is knowing how to combine fun and difficulty so that the gameplay doesn't come off as imbalanced. When it comes to SHOVELBOY's appearance and sound design, those aspects can best be summed up with the word nostalgia. For some, it might just be too simplistic for them to want to play it, but being a 90s kid, there were plenty of games like this one around back then. Though that may be true, SHOVELBOY could have done more. I liked the sound effects, but it was too noticeable that the game could have used music to spice things up. It's mainly because at times it was too quiet. It's possible that this was done on purpose, but if it was handled in that way, then I'd say it was a mistake. Very skilled players could run through this game in 5 to 10 minutes, maybe even less, but since I played it for nearly 3 hours, its flaws were more apparent to me. There are plenty of games out there that would make use of very little music or ambient music that might as well be no music to some, but the difference between those games and SHOVELBOY is that this one didn't seem like the kind of game that benefited from lacking music. Would I say that SHOVELBOY is difficult? I'd say that it depends. I've played some precision platformers that have gotten me to the point of sweating, and sometimes even to the point of wanting to rage quit, but that wasn't the case with SHOVELBOY. If anything, I thought it was amusing when I'd mess up a run and die because I knew that it was a manageable game. If I felt that the odds were too stacked against me, I doubt that I would have kept trying again and again, but since it generally felt fair, I had no problem having to restart from the beginning. All of that's true, but it was way too easy to go from having full health to dying within a matter of seconds. It's mainly because these are tightly designed levels. It was easy to go from being hit by a projectile, running into an enemy, and then landing on spikes. I don't think of that as a flaw, but it definitely did add to some of the occasional frustration I felt. I don't think I'm the kind of gamer that has low standards and will play anything, but at the same time, I don't require a great deal from a game in order to be convinced to give it a try or feel that it was fun. While that may be true for me, some may be left wanting more. They may not like the retro look, the lack of music, or that it's short. I beat it in pretty much one play session, and though I enjoyed my time with it, I don't see myself replaying SHOVELBOY. I'd say play it if you're curious because at the time of this writing, it's 99 cents, but I will, however, say that there are better platformers out there that don't have bugs. Do you think that you have high or low standards as a gamer? Would you buy a game that can be beaten in one play session? Consider answering those questions in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this content, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you very much for watching.